movies. I just got finished filming the cover reveals for A Garden of Fairy Tales, and I figured while everything is set up, I'm here, let's go ahead and film March reads and the Titanic TBR for April, which I cannot wait to tell you guys about that. It's going to be awesome. First up, what did I read in March? I read 3 books. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this year reading has kind of been sort of a struggle. Like, I've read some good books. I find I'm having trouble like making time to read. It's getting a little bit better. March kind of suffered for that. So the first one I read, Rook to King by Karina, I think, Taylor. And this was a freebie I downloaded. It sounded interesting. It's like a chess adventure, and there's intrigue. There's an antique store with like mysterious chess pieces, and there's like this whole mystery behind it, some sort of inheritance, I think. Or like this big, I haven't looked at it in a while. It's a romantic adventure with a lot of chess and just like on the run to find all the chess pieces first. And it sounded really interesting, and it was free, and I was like, let's go ahead and go for it. Unfortunately, I did DNF it at 44%. It did start out pretty good. I enjoyed the POV switches, like every chapter. It was interesting to get inside each other's head and see what was going on in their perspective. It is a very fast-moving story. I was plowing through chapters, like a few chapters a night, and I had trouble putting it down. And there was some pretty funny banter, I will say. Unfortunately, the things that made me DNF it was some mild language here and there that got a little picked up more as the book went on, and there was some suggestive adult content that I just don't want to read about, you know? I forget now because it was so early on in March, but it was just like innuendos or something, and like I said, suggestive content. And also the female lead, Grayson, she got to be kind of annoying after a while. I don't know, she just kind of started to bug me, and it was annoying. But you know, I could have overlooked her being annoying and kept reading, but it was the language and the content, and I'm just like, you know, I've got too many other books that I need to eventually get to, and so no, I DNF'd it. Which was sad, because I was enjoying it in the beginning, and it was really interesting, but it just wasn't for me. So I gave it 2 stars. Would I recommend it? Personally, I wouldn't for the content. And when I talk about recommending a book to readers, I'm mostly talking about my own little like niche, clean and or Christian fiction. It doesn't necessarily have to be Christian fiction, but definitely clean. And clean, no language, no smut, no gore, some violence, but nothing like that you would be uncomfortable reading. And everyone has their own limitations or like content that they don't mind, so whatever works for you. Everyone's going to be different. As always, you know, read it for yourself, see, don't take my word for it. And these have all been on my Kindle, by the way. I didn't read any physical books last month. The next one, which was one of my favorites, I Escaped the Saltwater Crocodile, an Apex Predator of the Wild. Apparently, this is a series of like survival and stories, which I'm there for it. I love survival stories. And the cover was so like, wow, it's intense. And it did not disappoint, because like you open it in the first chapter and it's like you're right in the middle of the big climax, you know, of being up in a tree, and there's like a swamp in the tree, and like a crocodile's like swimming around, and you're not sure if all of your friends have made it. It really hooks you from the start, and like I had the hardest time putting it down every night. It was a crazy, fast-paced ride, very on the edge of your seats, and like you never knew what was going to happen, and it just kept going, and I was there for it. I will definitely be rereading the series again. It does take place, this one takes place in Australia, so it was really cool to like get that setting, and it was very, I don't know, it was very different. So I enjoyed it, and it was awesome. I gave it 4 stars. The characters are more like middle grade, early teen, so I would say this would definitely be okay for, it would be okay for some young readers. There are some scary images, there is some violence, there's possible deaths of characters from the crocodile. It is kind of scary in some parts, and there are some illustrations, not gross illustrations, but like there's like one of a snake that was kind of scary looking. It was very intense, so some young readers will like this, definitely adults, but it is geared toward middle grade, young adult. Just be aware of the content. And then the last book I read last month is Eye of the Storm by Karen Heckler. It published last year. It is like 8 pages long. I'd been meaning to read it because it was so short, and it's like, just, you know, read it, you know? But I finally was like, okay, I'm going to actually read it. And oh my goodness, guys, this was such a powerful book. It's an allegorical, I'm sure I said that wrong, fantasy short story. It takes place, the setting, it was hard to follow at first. I did struggle with the setting, but it takes place in this storm, and there's like this battle raging, but it's like a spiritual battle, basically fighting against God, and God trying to, say, hey, I'm here for you, it's okay, I love you, and just fighting against that. And it was such a powerful book. Oh my goodness. I literally teared up, like, during parts of it. Like, it was just so truth-filled and just packed with love, and there was so much, like I needed this book. And if you need a spiritual pick-me-up, if you're feeling down, if you ever just need to be reminded of God's love, this is a great book for that. And it was just beautiful. It was great. I actually highlighted this. The author noted her hopes for this book, which is that you are blessed and walk away from the story feeling seen and loved. And I remember reading that at the very end with like the acknowledgements are and everything, and I was like, totally succeeded. Totally, because like I felt exactly that. Blessed, seen, and loved. It was perfect. So I highly recommend this book. I gave it 5 stars. Christian readers, you gotta read this. Non-Christians, you gotta read this, because it is just so, it's good, and there's so much truth and love into it. It was definitely an inspiring, encouraging read. So if you haven't read it yet, if it's on your TBR, you need to go read it. It was good. So that is what I read in March. It started out kind of, but it really went well, and I'm happy with it. Even though it was 3 books, very, very good. So let's talk about this April Titanic TBR. I want to read a bunch of Titanic books during this month, because back in 1912, April 15th, was when the Titanic sunk, and like, I don't know about you, but I have always been so like curious and interested in this particular subject. It's so fascinating, and I already like that time period, and I find the history during that era so interesting, and just, I don't know, it's very compelling for me. So I thought it would be really, really fun to do like a read where all I read that month are Titanic books, and I have a bunch of them. I have not yet started filming my actual video. I need to. I have library books and everything. First of all, I am reading a book my sister let me borrow, and she has a strict, I need this back at a certain day, and she insists on it, so I need to get her book done first before I can actually start Titanic books. And it's April 6th, so I'm pretty sure I have time. But I'm almost done with Flowers for Algernon, and I'm actually on page 240 out of, oh goodness, like 310. So I've got like 70 pages left, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not enjoying this book anymore. I'll share a full review, of course. I'm not going to recommend this to anyone. It is a very interesting story, and it's very thought-provoking. It really makes you think. However, no, I don't recommend this. First, I need to get this done, which I'm speeding through it to get it done. And the reason I'm not DNFing it right now, 1, due to content, and 2, because to get to the Titanic books, because I want to see how it ends. I want to see what happens with Charlie. And then Titanic books. At the very end of March, I was like, okay, let's prep for this video. So I put a bunch of library books on hold. Titanic books. We have A Night to Remember, and this is a large print edition. I actually started reading this before I was like, okay, I gotta finish her book first, and it was really, really good. The Girl Who Came Home, which is a dual timeline, Ireland 1912, Chicago 1982, so interested. Luck of the Titanic. The cover is really pretty. It's been on my TBR for a while, actually. And then The Dressmaker, which is also, I think it's like after the Titanic, I'm not sure. So I have those physical books to read. And then on my Kindle, I have a few books. One's just called Titanic. I'm not sure, I'm gonna give it a go. And then I have Time Out Titanic, which sounds like a time travel book where these kids go back to the Titanic, which sounds like something I would love. And then Loss of the Steamship Titanic. And it says it's by the British government, so I really don't know. I'm guessing those first two are definitely going to be nonfiction, maybe like accounts or something. So I'm very excited, but as always, library books first because they're library books. I may try to start a couple at a time and see. So that is what my reading for April is going to look like. I'm not reading anything else except for this one, just to get it done, besides Titanic books. So let me know, have you read any of the books I've mentioned? What were your thoughts, dislikes, likes? I'm going to go ahead and close up. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. So until next time, happy reading.